Kia ora, and welcome to Wednesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news. We're still waiting for indications of the China-US trade talks in London. Meanwhile, the World Bank said global trade expansion is now at its weakest since 2008, as the tariff tit-for-tat undermines it. They say without a swift course correction, the harm to living standards could be deep. But they still see a global expansion of 2.3%, largely driven by China, Indonesia, Thailand and India. The retreat of growth in the US will be sharp, they say, halving in 2025 to 1.4% from 2024, 2.8%. The EU will be largely unaffected and maintain their slow growth. Japan's slow growth is expected to rise in the next 3 years, though, and they don't review Australia or New Zealand. Elsewhere, the overnight dairy pulse auction brought downbeat results. The key whole milk powder price fell 1.1% in a retreat expected by the derivatives market, but even at this level it remains in the rising trend that started in mid-2024. However, the skim milk powder price fell a hard 4.8% and much more than expected. In fact, skim milk powder prices have now broken through their weak rising trend and look quite vulnerable. Also showing signs of running out of steam were US retail sales growth as measured by their Red Book survey. They were up 4.6% from the same week a year ago, the weakest rise since March 2024. After inflation, this isn't any better. And the US NFIB Small Business Optimism Survey turned up in May, the first time it has done that in 2025. And there was a US Treasury 3-year bond auction early today, and that showed a small fall-off in support, something worth watching. The winning investors got a median yield of 3.92%, up from 3.77% at the prior equivalent event a month ago. And across the Pacific, Japanese machine tool orders came in at a similar level in May as April, but that is only a 3.4% gain from the same month a year ago. It was kept positive by export orders, although domestic orders, which had been rising strongly earlier in the year, are now cooling. In China, concerns persist about overproduction in their car manufacturing sector, even though local new vehicle sales overall, including exports, rose almost 10% in April. Those concerns are rippling through commodities that supply this juggernaut industry. Rubber prices, for example, are being hit hard as buyers lose confidence the China car industry can avoid a crash like their property sector. There are signs the government there is worried too, with Beijing telling carmakers to make sensible commercial decisions. In Australia, the Westpac Melbourne Institute Consumer Sentiment Survey wasn't particularly upbeat, coming in little changed in June from May, but at least it isn't going backwards. Aussie consumers remain relatively averse to real estate as an investment option and to risk in general. Indeed, responses to a question on the wisest place for savings suggest that the tariff-related turmoil this year has seen what is already a high level of risk aversion intensify even further. And staying in Australia, the closely watched NAB Business Sentiment Survey has improved marginally in May, recording its first positive reading in 4 months. But business conditions weakened in the survey, and it'll be hard for sentiment to improve if business conditions get weaker. Those weaker conditions came from ongoing profitability pressures and soft demand, with signs of a further softening in their labour demand. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.47% and down 2 basis points from yesterday at this time. And the price of gold will start today at $3,323 an ounce, down $10 from yesterday. American oil prices are little changed at just on $65 a barrel, while the international Brent price is still on $67 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 60.4 US cents and dipping 10 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're also down 10 basis points at 92.7 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 10 basis points as well at 52.9 euro cents. That all means our trade weight index starts today at just under 68.4 and down a bit less than 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts at $108,723 and up 0.4% from yesterday. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been low at just on plus or minus 0.4%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.